Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
I spent a lot of time at Virginia State, though, even though I didn't go there.
It's another episode and another reason to love your HBCU. I have Darrell Booker. I had to get his name right because when you see his name, you're going to want to mispronounce it. It is Darrell Booker. Mr. Booker, welcome. How are you?
I am great. So excited to be here to have this conversation with you today.
Same here, same here. I teased initially before you came on, or as you were coming on, I said not Virginia State, Hampton. You are our first male Hampton alum that we're speaking to on the podcast. We've had several female Hampton alum, which I'm surprised I'm going there this quickly. The minute I just said all of those words out loud, it made me recall the fact that we, as an HBCU community, have been dealing more recently with the lack of Black men in college. And I'm curious, again, it's factual that the numbers are lower. HBCUs, non-HBCUs, the numbers of Black men going to college are lower in the US right now. When you were an undergrad, did you feel it that starkly? Because according to the statistics, it's been going on for a while. It's not new. Was it that obvious then?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny when you said you've had more female HBCUs on and I'm the first as a male. It wasn't surprising because if I go back to my days at Hampton, it was more girls. It was a lot of girls. I mean, for some of us men, that was a little bit of the attraction when you went and it was like, oh, wow. So absolutely, absolutely. Not as many of us males making it to these schools.
So I'm going to get the name wrong, and I'm hoping Chris does her magic and sends me the right HBCU in a hot second. The incoming class for fall 2025, it's one of the universities in Alabama. They have actually a high enrollment of Black men joining. But I've been asking every single male that I speak to on the podcast, what would get young Black men going to college? That's number one. But I think more importantly, should we be pushing college as much on them?
Woo! Woo! All right. First of all, fun fact for you and your listeners, since you mentioned Alabama, a lot of people don't know Alabama has the most HBCUs and historically Black community colleges than any other state. A lot of people don't know that. But what would get more Black men there? It would be if they actually thought that what's being taught at these schools correlates to where they want to be. And essentially what I'm saying is if you don't necessarily believe that you have to go there to do what you want to do, then why would you go? And there's a lot of reasons for that. I think one of the reasons that I talk about a lot of times is we as society do a horrible job of exposing our young people to career pathways. And when I say to career pathways, the diverse career pathways. When I was young, it was really doctor, lawyer, accounting. I went road with tech. Tech is now new. But sometimes those terms are just so broad. People really don't understand what's really out there for them. And if they don't understand what's out there for them, then they're not going to want to go to school to be able to do that. Instead, they may ultimately just defer to these other type of avenues that they feel like, hey, I don't need to necessarily go to college. So that's my take on it. And if we say, do people need to go? I'm careful of when I say this. If I'm in a room full of teachers, I won't say this as well. But it all depends, again, on that career pathway. There's some, including tech. No, you do not. Absolutely do not.
Mm,
If you have a device and the internet, you will learn way more than what a college will tell you because they're too behind. And unfortunately,
wow.
a lot of our HBCUs are really, really, really behind. Tech is just tech, STEM, all of that just moving way too fast.
Wow. So yay. I did a clap in my head. Here's why. I ask this question, I'm not kidding. Every single black male academic or even academic adjacent, I am going to ask you the question about the numbers of black men in college. And Mr. Booker, I'm not kidding. 9 out of 10 times the response I get, and it's a valid response, don't get me wrong, but the response I get, I think, is not as you gave me a nuanced response, and I appreciate the nuance in your response. Most of them just say it's about the money. And I don't think it's that simple. And so I appreciate the manner in which you broke down. If A does not connect to B for me, I'm going to ask myself, why do I start at A? Why don't I start at several other A's that are options for me? A, I appreciate what you said. B, I am hoping HBCUs are listening to you with regards to what approach they might want to take in making this attractive, because you could not be more right. I do not know any HBCU that is doing a splendid job at exposing students to the different career pathways that exist out there.
No.
I don't know.
No, it is much more about, okay, here's what you need to pass this class and get this degree. That does not equate to being job
Yeah,
ready and career pathways. They're not the same. They're not. The entire
absolutely.
education system needs to be overhauled. Don't get me started.
When can we start? Can you and I start together
Yeah,
dismantling what
let's
is?
start together.
No,
Let's
seriously.
start.
And listen, most people who know me know that I'm the dean of an honors college at one of our HBCUs. So I love, take the title, throw it in the trash. I love what I do. I love it. I'm still the person that's going to say I am perfectly okay if Mr. Booker and Tosin got together and dismantled the whole thing and started all over again. Because I think we are band aiding like nobody's business out here. I really do.
It is Band-Aid, and it's very evident now when those that are going and graduating and we see that they're not getting these jobs. Why? One,
Yeah,
they're not ready for the actual roles that exist. You follow me?
I do.
And you know that it's just it feels like now it's very much just going through the motions. You know,
Yeah. Gosh. Mr. Booker, we need to get you on an HBCU college tour
I would love
where we
that.
Tosin's not joking, where we lock all the administrators out of the room and we just have you talk to the students and impress upon the students that they're not wasting their time. They're not wasting their time, but they need to dig a little deeper in different ways with regards to what's coming next once they leave this place. We started hot and I love it. Mr. Booker,
Yes.
I'm gonna call you by your first name every now and then, but I love addressing people by their last names. I love my last name and it is an homage to my dad. So I love calling people by their last names. Um, I said to you before we started recording, and I don't know if you believe me, so I'm gonna say it for the entire world to hear it because I don't mince words. Yours is one of the best bios I have read in a long time.
Thank
There is so much intentionality behind it. There is so much versatility and depth. I read your bio and I said, I can't wait to talk to him.
thank you.
Um, how would you describe who you are as a professional and what you do?
Wow. Um, so there's some words that come to mind. One is chief disruptor. authentically me. Um, I use the term, I've self proclaimed myself your techie's favorite techie. Um, um, what else? Those are a lot of the words that really come to mind for me. I bring so much passion and, like I said, lived experience into what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point when you say, what is it I do? All of my worlds have collided. And when I say collided, first of all, grew up as a black man in America. So when you think of all that comes with that, then, early age of 14, deep into coding and tech. And by the age of 18, full-time job working for the state in tech. So there's that second element of me. And then about 10 years ago is when I got into this whole philanthropic and social impact space. And how all of those things come together is the intersection of me and where I look to be able to say how one influences the other, or one project may start with tech, but where am I bringing the social impact element? Where am I bringing the culture to it? Or vice
Yeah.
versa. And they have been colliding very nicely together, and I just really see that as the uniqueness of me and what my personal secret sauce is.
So I'm learning as I get older that some people consider me neurodivergent. I still don't even know what that means.
I don't know why do they say that about you?
I don't know what that means. I'm learning. I was not raised in the United States of America, but I'm learning that the US of A loves to label everything.
Oh, everything. Yeah.
Um, when I heard everything you said, my heart leapt. Again, I mean it when I say I love your bio. I could throw so many things out there. Those who have seen the docu series Our America in Black, you're going to see Mr. Booker featured there, streaming on Hulu and Disney, and there's just so much more. And I don't want to just throw these bits and pieces out there. What made my heart leap is listening to the way you describe what you do, what you bring to the table, and the intersectionality of all of it. I wish that's the way we got to write our resumes. I wish that's the way we got to tell people about what we do in the world beyond the titles that people end up boxing us in.
And don't get it wrong, that was a journey for me. Like,
Of
if you
course.
think of what a bio would have been, say, even 10, 15 years ago, it would have been very, very, okay, he's an engineer, he's a nerd, he's a coder. Like, that would have been all that you would have thought.
Yeah.
And I even think about, um, even outwardly, I remember there was a time kind of when, Instagram first came out, there was the Darrell personal Instagram, and then there was this professional one. And it was these, two sides. And then I came to myself and
Mm.
I came to the realization one day and said, well, both of these are me. Like, why do I need to put out this to this audience and that to that audience? How do I just be authentically me? And something that I had to realize is that it takes a lot of people time to get to it. People gonna rock with me because they like me, period or not.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to try to be anything other than who I am. And if I have that mindset, I can bring it to everything, including my work. And
Yeah.
I don't have to wake up and be a different person for 8 hours a day and then switch to be something the other day. You're gonna get the same person 24 hours a day.
Now, that explains why, when I asked you to describe yourself professionally and what you do, you used authentically me. That gave it so much more depth. I have so much more to cover with you, and I'm getting the sense that you and I could be on this call or on this platform for the next 3 hours. Uh, We're going to. We're going to. So, what I want to quickly do now, and those who watch us know this is coming, I'm going to throw the rapid fire segment at you. I'm going to ask as many questions as possible in 67 seconds. You're a nerd. Why do you think I give 67 seconds instead of 60 seconds? So, you gave that beautiful tidbit earlier on for our listeners that Alabama has, and by the way, the university was Alabama A&M, by the way, for the high enrollments 2025. I forgot to mention that earlier. Um, you gave the tidbit that Alabama has got the largest number of HBCUs and HBCU community colleges in any state. You're accurate. In 1867, the most number of HBCUs were also incorporated and or founded. Hence the homage of 67 seconds. We use 1867 as our number with I love my HBCU question mark. So little history. Okay, are you ready? Let's do this. Okay, time's on the clock. Describe your HBCU experience in one word. Life changing. Is that two words? No. I bet I know. If your time in college was a song, what song would it be? Yes. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. What would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't? I like that. I like that. I like that honesty too. On a scale of 1 through 10, how good of a student were you? A 10? Excuse me. What, okay, okay. Shout out your favorite professor, person. It could even be the cleaning staff at your HBCU. What do they do? What is their name?
That was so long. I'm gonna say currently somebody there.
It can be current.
Okay, her name is Tiffany Rogers. She's over there leading the Hampton Proton Cancer Center, doing some amazing things, making sure that our black community, especially our black men, are getting checked and treated for cancer.
That's impressive. If so, my the shock on my face knows how important the time's up, by the way. The shock on my face. The shock on my face is knowing how important that is. And if I'm just ignorant, I'll take being ignorant, not knowing anybody else in any of our HBCU spaces that does that. So kudos to Tiffany Rogers. That's extremely. I know everyone needs to get checked, but we do know the statistics with regards to Black men. So kudos to her. You wanted to get back to something with regards. Let's hear this.
I mean,
Yes.
I was just gonna say, and this is probably why I said swag surf came to mind. College was easy for me. Like when I say it was easy for me, and I think some of it was how I grew up in just the school system I went to. High school was way harder for me, way
Hmm.
harder, and I kind of kept the business first routine. So I was at 7:30 classes. I was done by 11. I don't ever remember picking up a book and studying anything, or it was shout out to Chesterfield County school system in Richmond, Virginia, where I grew up. I think they really prepared me to where it was a breeze. It was a breeze.
I love that. There's something I'm so tempted to share but won't. But I love that. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. And every Nigerian who hears this, now might be the best time for you to just turn your volume down. So not to take anything away from the brilliance of Nigerians who come to the United States and go to college, you made a statement that college was easy for you because high school was a little bit harder. And so I came to college at the age of 16. Yeah, yeah. And graduated at 19 with my first degree. and I got celebrated for it. And I had the exact same reaction as you, Mr. Booker. Like, this wasn't
Right.
that hard.
Yeah.
It was very,
Yeah.
okay, sure. And it's actually the only reason why I went ahead and got my next 2 degrees, because I wanted to feel little bit of challenge, and I had not felt challenged with the first degree. And that's actually the story again, before they come at me, because they will. That's not true for every Nigerian, but it's actually true for quite a number of us, because the manner of our education system, whether you were raised in Nigeria or raised outside of Nigeria, is very similar with regards to how much you have to do early on, that makes the latter a little easier. Okay, forget I said that. Um
You're right though. You're so right.
it was my reality. So I'm not as impressed, I guess, when someone tells me, blah blah blah. Good sir, I want to hear your college selection journey. I hear you're from Richmond, but why Hampton? There are other HBCUs in Virginia and in the surrounding states. Why Hampton?
So, growing up in Richmond, right in Richmond, Virginia Union University, and uh, just Virginia Union was just there, and it didn't seem desirable to go to, unfortunately. So that one didn't
Uh-huh.
even cross my mind. There was a Virginia State, which was, 15 minutes away. Virginia State was cool. I think the issue with Virginia State is by the time I started driving in high school, I spent a lot of time down at Virginia State. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So that still felt like home. Like that's where all the parties were and whatever concert was in town, they would do it at Virginia State. So it didn't seem like I was going anywhere. So I literally applied to 3 schools. I applied to University of Virginia, William and Mary, and Hampton. That was it. And I had toured UVA and William and Mary first,
Okay.
and it was like, okay, I'll pick one of these. And once I went to Hampton, I was like, oh no, this is home. This is where I want to be. And it's really for one real reason. Um, Early on in life, my parents moved us from the city to the county, typical, let's get out of the project, something better for my kid. And at the age of 5, all of a sudden was thrown into a school system where I was the only black in class. Um, and I was what they call honors class. So I was a reading level above everybody. So even once I got to middle school, the exact same thing. I was the only black in class in these honors classes. When they got to high school, maybe 2 in the class, 3 tops. So I had went, all those years in such an environment where that isolation and
Mm-hmm.
only being able to, connect with other black kids either after school or in my neighborhood. I had quit football during high school because I was like, I'm missing out on social because I go to school, I'm the only one like me in my class, then I got to go to football practice. Like, I don't just get to kick it. You know what I mean? So once I did that tour and stepped on Hampton's campus, I'm like, I'm sold. I'm here. I am here. So that was my journey.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I also hear that, again, I've gotten this mostly from the women who went to Hampton. There is, I know a lot of HBCUs want to say this is true for all of them, but I have not observed nor experienced that to be accurate. I have absolutely experienced and observed it to be accurate for Hampton University. You guys love each other and you love your institution. It's palpable. The love, all you have to hear is that that other person went to Hampton, and that's all it takes.
And I think one of the differences, and it may contribute to a little bit, it's a private school versus a public. So when you think about that from a university, there's those private schools cost more. And
Yeah.
there becomes a certain level of intentionality as a family and a unit to say, hey, You're gonna pick this more expensive Hampton over the public Virginia State. So I
Mm,
think there's more skin in the game, and there's
that's
more
fair.
like I got to be here versus I think sometimes people may just enroll in that closest school, and it wasn't really where they wanted to be, but it was close and it was public and it was cheaper, so I'm here. You know what I mean?
That's fair. I'm not going to out them, but there's so many students that I've asked, so why did you pick so and so? Well, that's a li- well, I'm like, oh, that's your answer. Got it. Okay. Okay. Mr. Booker, Lord have mercy. I want to talk to you about AI. I want to talk to you about female founders, especially Black female founders. I want to talk to you about the wealth gap in a non superficial way, or in a non sentimental, not superficial, in a non sentimental way. And I want to talk to you also about environmental issues with AI. Those are the four things that when I saw your bio and I said, Tosin, if you don't run your mouth off too much, you can get to these things with him. So I want to start with ChatGPT, and let's just call it AI because I know everyone keeps on using the way we use Google to synonymize
Searching,
all
yeah.
search engines. We've used ChatGPT to synonymize most of AI, which is insane, but I guess good for ChatGPT. Um, I was having breakfast with a corporate executive not too long ago whose two sons just graduated from an HBCU, and she is in the space of funding, and she had mentioned that she was so disappointed when 4 years ago her younger son was enrolling, and right about that time is when she was hearing from different HBCU presidents that they were really concerned about their students using AI in their classes. And what she decided to do is actually buy subscriptions for ChatGPT and other AI tools for her sons to go crazy with. She said, listen, you can't use it to replicate your work. However, before you become behind, because you are going to if you don't get into it now, I want you to respect what your professors tell you, respect what your administration tells you, but utilize this tool. I want to get your take on that, number one. And you mentioned earlier on, you used three reallys, I counted, when you said that HBCUs are really, really, really behind when it comes to this entire world. Give us your expert take on this. Yeah. Hmm. I appreciate that. If you were given or chose to be a visiting professor at any one of our HBCUs for a good semester, what are the top three things in that space that you would want your students to know? Mm. What are
Yeah,
yes, that you'd want them to pay attention to? I know you can't give it all in those three, but just
yeah,
what would you be like, guys, listen, you're not going to get this from your professors,
yeah, yeah.
and that's what this is. But pay attention to one, two, and three.
Um, the first thing, and you kind of hit upon it. I said this before, especially if we think of Chat GPT. Spending $20 a month for that pro subscription is to me a no brainer, and I bring that up in terms of we have to realize sometimes the cost of doing business or the cost of education or whatever it is. No different than that what that plumber needs his tools to do what he needs to do. If this is something that's at your disposal, and I understand all of these tools now are going to have their various subscription prices, you need to figure out how you pay for it because it's necessary. So let's get out of our head. Oh, but it's not free. It's not free. But you go and spend money on a bunch of other dumb stuff all day long. So invest in yourself. That would be that would be number one. I would say number two is just explore them. I mean, you mentioned Chat GPT. One that I use a lot that people don't talk about as much as Perplexity. I use them two together. They have different purposes. Um, Now there's tools for actually coding, and I still dive into that. So they're between Claude and Lovable and Replit, and there's all these tools. When we think about video, there's Veo, there's Luma, there's all these video tools out there. I urge people to just explore. Every one of these are relatively easy to use, and at least all of them have some way that you can test it out for free. So I say that to say there may not be one AI tool that does it all. Again, no different than someone that has a toolbox of different tools. You follow me?
Absolutely.
Think of
Yes.
these AI tools in that same manner. And then I think the last thing is the term agentic, which is essentially AI agents that are doing automated tasks for you.
For you.
Yes, that is it is the current wave. It is the current thing. Instead of just like how we interface with Chat GPT, you ask it something, it responds, whatever, whatever. That next wave is to actually use these tools to have it go and do things for you, saving you complete time. When I say do things for you, y'all, like it can go to websites, it can fill out stuff, it can order stuff in the shopping cart for you, it can scrape data, it can do all of these
Jesus.
things for you. So those are the three things.
You and I need to have a conversation offline because you just terrified me without knowing it. You just terrified me without knowing it. You're about to become you called yourself your tech guy's favorite tech guy. You're about to absolutely. You're about to be mine just so that I am not scared all the time. That's it.
So I'm waiting for someone to ask me, where did I get your techie's favorite techie from?
I'm asking you. Go ahead.
I got it from Jeezy as a song that says, "I'm your trapper's favorite trapper." So I just took that and said, "Well, I'm the techie's favorite techie. Like I'm the tech guy that other tech people like. That's me."
I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. I think so. By the way, and you'll hear about it at some point in time. We have a summit, Generation Next Thought Leaders, and we put the mic in the hands of our amazing HBCU students, and we tell them to discuss the issues. And the moderators, the audience are typically your leaders, your community organization people, blah blah blah. To get to the subjects that they talk about on the panels, we have them do focus groups, and then they also, what's it called? They vote on which ones that they like.
Okay.
I say all of that to say the one that they put on that's currently going to go out to be voted on is the environmental issues associated with AI. And I'm probably telling my age here. It was the first time I heard it when they were having the focus group. It's not something I knew, and I'm perfectly okay admitting that because I'm also a really big learner. So I'm gonna dive right into it and find out what it is. This is something that, as a social impactor, that's what I'm gonna call you for now. Um, you are, in so many words, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, you're sounding the alarm. You are giving the clarion cry that we need to be paying attention to this.
Yeah.
For the former Tosans who did not even know this was a thing, what would you say to us that we need to be paying attention to when it comes to the environmental issues associated with AI?
Whew. And I'll say too, real quick, it was something that I wasn't thinking about as well.
Okay,
And I'll
I've
never
wrote that
forget.
down.
I was in I was in LA and I was doing a panel with Pastor Tori Roberts, and afterward, a young lady came up to me and we were chatting. I can't remember what she asked me then or she asked me later via text or something, and she asked me about my thoughts on the environment. And the first thing that kind of came to my mind was, and this is something too I want people to realize, is there's a lot of stuff AI is getting blamed for. Follow me. That's not all AI. And I say this to say, yes, people talk about these data centers that powers AI, right? But these are the same data centers that's powering the tool we're using right here. It's the same data center that's
This is the
powering to make
one.
sure your Facebook is up, your IG is up. All the other things that you do, these are these same data centers. It's the same physical buildings. You follow me? Now,
I am.
do these AI queries use more compute power, thus it needs more energy, thus is it emitting more? Absolutely. And I think that's when I started to open my eyes up, and and say to myself, okay, there is something there. um is it a brand new issue? And that's why I say no, because these data centers have been here. I also wanted to bring up real quick as a fact, AI is still not the biggest polluter. The biggest polluter is mining Bitcoins. That pollutes the energy more than AI. But the reason that you may not hear much about that is why? Because mining Bitcoin is all about the money, and those that can afford all of that necessary hardware to be able to mine Bitcoins, that's a whole nother class of people that's not even coming up in regular conversations. So I just want to put in perspective what you know AI it could be actually doing from the environment. There are other things that are contributing to it, but I am very conscious of what it's doing. And here's the only thing that I can say and hope: because this new AI economy and the race for it has gotten out of control. And at the end of the day, it's about making as much money as possible off it or with it. There's nothing that's going to happen to scale it back. I really don't care how much people sound the alarm about the environmental issues. There's way more people who are worried about the money they're making off of it. Now, what I do hope is that we take that same energy and say, you know what? Someone leveraging AI can now do faster research and faster things from a science standpoint to maybe learn and figure out how do we solve the problem. And that's what I'm really hoping people just take that stance and say, hey, we can't stop this train. Let's figure out how we get on this train and then fix the problems that the current train is causing.
Mr. Booker, You're my kind of person.
Yeah.
And what made me say that, gosh, my mind raced to all the amazing partnerships you and I can do, like seriously, with regards to just civic discourse.
Yes.
Y- y- gosh, I love everything you just said. And not because I agree or disagree, that's
Right.
irrelevant to me. It's born out of, guys, please go back, rewind, and listen to what he just said. He literally just said, no matter how loud we cry, nothing's going to change it. And you don't like it when people say that, but listen to what he said next.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean give up. It doesn't
Right.
mean stop doing. It doesn't mean that whatever social impact entities are currently rising to address this issue are futile. No, that's not what he said. What he said was, here's hoping that knowing that this is not going to scale it back, somebody's might work a little faster in
Facts.
figuring out how do we solve this issue.
Yes.
The reason why that hit so hard for me, I'm going to use one word: plastics. Plastics. Tosin loves documentaries. I've watched documentaries on how to make paper, for crying out loud. And each time I go to the grocery store and you want to charge me 5 cents for using a plastic bag, I get irritated
Yeah. Yeah.
because all the if you really want us to stop this, stop making plastics.
Stop making it. Yeah. Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the easy solution. But that's not going to happen.
That's
No, there are plastics in everything we use, for crying out loud.
and honestly, and what you just described, remember what I said? That was someone saying, "Hey, we can make more money by charging them 5 cents for a bag." They don't really care about, because if they really cared, they wouldn't offer the bag as an option. Period.
So what some of our brains need to do, Tosin's not the biggest brain in the room. Some of our brains, who are much bigger than mine, need to come together and not argue over that. We already know that that exists. But what can we do a little what's the next? What's the next step? And guys, it's Mr. Booker. Mr. Booker's brain is the one that is going to gather a lot of these think tanks together. He's joking. He's laughing. I'm not joking. It's going to gather a number of these people together because you have a very you've got a simplistic way, and I mean that with all due respect, because simplicity is often better than the complex way in which we try to disseminate information. You've got a very simplistic way of getting the message across, where anyone hearing this has to at least listen to what you said. I'm running out of time and I hate myself for it because I didn't get to the female founders. I didn't get to the wealth gap. Mr. Booker, I almost called you Dr. Booker. It sounds good. Dr. Booker. It does. There you go, Dr. Booker. We have to have a part two. We absolutely have to have a part two. I know you're in so many pockets. You're in the VC world. You're in so many worlds. As a female founder, as a female entrepreneur, I absolutely wanted to get your take, and maybe I'll still get a smidge of it. Your take on, the statistics that's out there. You were born of a Black woman, I'm guessing. I'm guessing. I'm guessing you may have a sister or two who's Black. If not, you've got family members that are Black. And I think you'll agree with me when I make the very bold statement that we are superstars. We're just freaking amazing. And it blows my mind every time I read all the statistics that consistently tell me, but we don't believe in you. And the we don't believe in you is born out of the refusal to fund us at the rates that you fund other entities, the refusal to give us the same platform, the same foundational step on the ladder that you're giving everybody else. Because we're always told everywhere that we're not prepared. Mind you, all the others that you're comparing us against and that you're funding were just as unprepared. Um, I don't even know if I asked you a question because I just wanted us to talk about what your thoughts are on that.
I'll say this: you're absolutely correct. You know, this feeling that you all, I feel it as me as a black man. I know for you all that you have to be more perfect than perfect.
Yes,
That that is so unfair, and the whatever struggles that I've had, I said for you all is 10 times as hard.
it is.
There's certain things that as a black man I can get away with. I can get away with whether I got a fresh lineup or not. You know, they're not criticizing my hair like there is yours.
Absolutely.
Um, I can talk authoritatively and confident, and it will be accepted. You all will be looked at as the angry black woman.
Absolutely. Or who does she think she is?
To all of these things, I understand it. And I'll say this one thing, and we'll save it for the part two. It's really up to us and my fellow brothers to when we have the opportunity to uplift you all and put you all on a platform, we do that. And that's something I've always been focused on. I just had a team of 20 people for 5 years, and it was 98% black females. Because I was in a position to where at the world's largest tech company, I could bring on a team of people that I thought could do the work the best, plus also giving them some of those opportunities that others wouldn't. So, but yeah, we'll have to finish that later. That's a deep one.
Dr. Booker, because again, the honorary is already there at this point. I mean it when I say I've loved every single bit of our conversation. There must be a part two. You are amazing to talk to. You really are. And we could think tank this, all the issues. We could think tank them away together. Before I close though, I always ask everybody to tell me in one word or short phrase why they love their HBCUs.
Just a sense of belonging and pride, and just, being able to be yourself around people who understand you. Period.
Dr. Booker, and to everyone that is hearing the sound of my voice, I mean this, it is impossible for you not to have seen this particular episode of I Love My HBCU question mark and not like the episode, not because of me, but because of Darrell Booker, your tech's favorite tech. Did I get it?
Almost. Your techie's
Almost.
favorite techie.
Your techie's favorite techie. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Your techie's favorite techie. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. And to the audience, I hope that I have done the honor of you subscribing to I Love My HBCU question mark. Yours in HBCU love. Guys, look at what HBCUs produce. They produce the likes of Darrell Booker. Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. You've been listening to I Love My HBCU question mark. Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.